Oh my goodness, I did it. Hello, everyone. We are live. Where's that little script I wrote? All right. Welcome, everyone, to Diversity Saves Community Showcase. If you are tuning in for the first time, Diversity Saves is a 501c3 nonprofit organization made up of passionate TTRPG creators, actors, and fans from marginalized communities who wanted to create a means to amplify voices not only in the community but in the works we consume across the industry. You can always learn more and see what we're up to at diversitysaves.org. Before I introduce you, Before I introduce our guest today, just a little housekeeping. As you may have seen just a couple seconds ago, we are now Twitch affiliates and there are now ads. While Twitch ads may feel a little disruptive, ad revenue from Twitch, as well as subscriptions and bits, directly benefit our great giving program. Subscribing to the channel will remove the ads and directly donate to our programs, but we understand that is not accessible for everybody. We have some fun questions planned during the ad breaks that subscribers will get to see, and you can also see if you're watching later on YouTube. Let's hope those transitions go smoother than my autistic ass reading this script, and if they don't, you can blame me because my therapist can handle it. All right, now let's get to the good stuff. Today's community showcase, I am joined by the creator of Echoes of the Veil, a fast cinematic TTRPG hack for cyber+PNK. I should have verified that before I did that. Where players take on roles of cyberpunk rebels and mystics, trying to survive and rewire a world ruled by corporate greed. Welcome, Raffi.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. So good to
Hi.
be here.
I know I already asked you this earlier, but now I'm going to ask you again. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm here. What else could I ask for?
Right? I should have verified because I always see cyber+PNK and think it's CBR+PNK, and I don't actually know which it is. So I just
Uh,
go with it.
most most people say CBR plus PNK, so you are not wrong. Some people say cyberpunk plus PNK. Like I think it's just whatever you want.
Right. All right. So we're going to start out just for a couple minutes, couple questions, getting to know you as the brains behind this amazing world that we're going to get into. So let's get started with how long have you been playing TTRPGs and what was the first one that you played?
Yes. Probably since I was 8 or 9.
Oh,
Still pretty young.
yes.
My cousin, who we kind of like both adopted each other as siblings because I don't have siblings, he doesn't have siblings, and we have like an 8-year gap distance between us.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a GM for Dungeons and Dragons,
Ah,
and he used to host every Fridays with his little group campaigns that lasted like years and years and years. So he wouldn't let me play, but I sat through almost every single one of them and
oh,
fell
that's
in love with it right away.
adorable, though. Aw. Um, did he eventually let you play, or did you have to seek it elsewhere?
I mean, I had to be old enough, whatever that means, right? I was just like, but I want to play. Yeah, he was like, we're gonna mess our campaign up, and I was just like, okay.
But as the older sibling in my family, that is always what we tell the younger ones. You're gonna mess it up. You're gonna just
Yep.
but no, yeah. All right. So you operate under the studio name Reverie Rebels. Where did you come up with that and kind of what influenced it? Because I think it's pretty.
Thank you. Well, I'm a big dreamer, so like all of my brandings of different parts of what I do have something associated with like dream on it. I think it's just like it's what I was born to do in this world. It's like dream big and like push, for like imagining new things and like imagining a better world. So I'm also like someone who's always like trying to carve those spaces that I don't have or that are not, in existence for me at this particular moment. So that's exactly what I did. It's just like carving more like radical spaces that can bring like my skills as like an organizer, an activist, and designer into like TTRPG, and just like carving that for myself and for anyone who wants to join. So
Carving out a space sounds a little familiar. Um,
mm-hmm,
uh,
mm-hmm.
But you said dream, and so that expertly segues into the next question, because we're going to talk real quick about the Dream Creative, which is your creative studio where you quote work with mission-driven organizations to visually, I can't read out loud, visually define their social impact messaging. Can you talk a little how you got started in that and how that shaped your approach to creating games?
Yeah, so I'm a graphic designer and illustrator, like professionally. That's my background. Although here it goes, a little extra fun bits about myself.
Yeah.
I actually have a bachelor's in linguistics and translation. So like language and writing is also like a big portion of my life. But I left that in the back burner and then decided to become a designer, like focusing on branding. So that's the bulk of the work that I do to, like survive in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I needed to carve out a niche for myself. I wanted to only design for people whose values were bettering the world, supporting other people, supporting marginalized communities, like elevating that type of work. And when I started my career as a designer, I worked for, corporations. And I was like, wow, these corporations have really good tools to communicate and sell the shit that nobody needs to buy. Why can't we utilize those same principles to elevate social justice messages? So essentially it's like, let's utilize all these great tools that all these big corporations have, and let's push our radical gay trans agenda out there with the same kind of principles. So that's what I do for my work with like clients that want to have like design and like visual communication to elevate that messaging.
That's really cool. Um,
Yeah.
and the last one I have to get to know you a little bit is if you were a character in your own game, what of runner would you be?
Ooh. Definitely a character with magic, because that's a lot of what I bring for the game of with Echoes of the Veil. It's like the introduction of a lot of magical things into the cyberpunk world. We might get into talk about some of these different paths, but there is this magical path that's called Ghost Jacker, who is this.
Yes.
It's a really cool. Like he essentially can imagine like a hacker, for example, right? A hacker just like enters into the system, fuck shit up. But a ghost tracker actually gets into the spirit of someone and like controls their spirit and like can do things through their body. And then it has like a lot of fun consequences for them that, because like in Cyberpunk, everything comes at a cost.
Mm-hmm.
So magic comes at a cost, right? So you don't do just like these things for fun and then you're fine. It's like dealing with magic is a sacred thing. It's not just like something you play around with. So the consequences for the ghost jacker are pretty cool.
I I have read through the Ghost Jacker, and that's just a really cool concept. It's like biohacking almost, like you're getting.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Um, I just gonna throw it. I would totally be attuned. I like the. I'm not quite magic myself, but I can utilize things to. I can utilize it externally using
Mhm.
all these different items and such. So we will, yes, get to that. I thought that was a fun question. Um,
I love that. Yeah. So you don't want to go too deep, but you kind of like you have your sixth sense, you have your
mhm,
like medium abilities. You can use cool relics, but
mhm.
you're not gonna play with fire too much. I like that.
Yes, I think that would be just so much fun. Now, creating a character, I 100% would test out the weird, and because I do like the magic stuff, but I am getting a little ahead of myself. So Echoes is an official. Can I say official? I don't remember if we can say official hack. of CBR+PNK, which I have not played, but kind of figured out that that is a good thing because I went in completely unknown when I started looking at the demo and can actually understand because you keep the comprehensive rule, or you bring in the rules and don't require people to have all these extra books about the like original core. That's a tangent. Why did you choose CBR+PNK?
Okay. So first of all, I'll make sure I'm not saying the wrong things. I don't think we can say official
Okay.
because I'm not working with the publisher.
Right.
So just want to make sure this is a separate thing.
Unofficial. Correction.
There we go.
Unofficial.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yes.
make things up.
Yeah. Just I don't want to get into trouble.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if for folks who haven't seen CBR+PNK, the first thing that got into my attraction to them was just the way that it looks. It's like it's gorgeous. It's really beautiful, and I'm a sucker for like good packaging. I'm like one of those people that will buy things that I may not need because the packaging is just beautiful, and I'm like, I want to keep the packaging. Well, CBR+PNK is not just beautiful, but it's also really cool. It's mostly just like pamphlets instead of uh, books, which is really cool. It's very like plug and play type of deal. And it's cyberpunk, which I really love. So, I like automatically like gravitated to it. Uh, but lastly, I think this might sound a little weird, but I couldn't understand it when I played it. I just like would ignore most of the things that I didn't understand, and I still had a lot of fun with it. But eventually, it started to really bother me that I couldn't understand the things. So in my neurodivergent brain, I'm like, okay, for me to understand this, I have to rewrite this whole thing. So it just started as like, I'm just going to rewrite this thing so I can understand. And then 10 pages turned into 20, and then 20 turned into 30, and then 80 pages, and then 100 pages, and then so on. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, I think I have something here.
I love that. Fellow neurodivergent have done very similar, just not as eloquently. But the oh no, it had sparked a thought and then it was gone. So I'm going to go to the next one then. We got to shout out the art. I know that more art is one of the stretch goals on the Kickstarter, but the art that you already have, oh, it tickles my brain. I just love the neon pinks and blues and greens. That's an aesthetic that I'm obsessed with. So, you are doing some of the art, and I think that you are working with another artist that's listed on the Kickstarter. Do you want to show?
You're doing. I'm actually doing all of the art.
You're doing it all.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my gosh. I'm obsessed.
I'm doing all the art, and I'm collaborating with two other lovely people. One of them is really shy about media, so he's like,
course, yeah.
"You don't need to put my name," and I'm like, "Okay, that's your choice." And then my second collaborator, Matters, is helping me write factions, which is also a big thing. But I somehow thought it would be a great idea to just illustrate at almost every single page of the book is illustrated, and on 115 pages now. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
But and you can see on the screen, we have the preview, the like logo image. Just a taste. And the Kickstarter page is just gorgeous from top to bottom.
Thank you.
So I guess shouting out the artist on this little checklist of questions is just you. Fantastic. All right, so we're gonna get a little bit into like mechanics and the weird in just a little bit, but I want to start with the world. I have a flaw a little bit that I think I find beauty in everything. And so I want to talk about the Neon Spires because it's terrifying. But the way that it's described in the demo, I should put the demo link in the chat just in case people want to see it,
Yes.
is just beautiful. So can you kind of give us a little bit about the neon spires, the neon veil, all of that little aspect?
Yeah. Would it make sense for me to pull up some just like reference images as we speak? Or do you want me to just describe with words? I can do
We
both. I can
we
do just
can.
words.
You can pull up some reference images and I can make some changes to the screen real fast and show them if you would like.
I mean, that's also totally fine if it's going to be weird.
Well,
We can just
weird is
like
the point. I think that we talked about that. We love weird.
we did. It's on the demo. I just wanted to
Yeah,
kind of like illustrate it a little bit, but
yeah. Pull it up and I will move around the screen. Go for it.
okay, I can do that. Okay.
I don't. I have to check if you have screen sharing permissions because we didn't plan that part.
Oh,
You
we didn't.
should.
We didn't. We didn't play that part. Let's see.
You know, we're doing it on the fly, and I'm loving it. Do you have screen sharing abilities? Otherwise, I can share it. I have the demo.
I believe. Is that working?
Yes, it is, and it
Oh,
almost
okay. Wonderful.
almost has our pictures still in the same spot. Um,
Okay.
there we go. Ooh,
Wonderful.
professionalism. I'm so good at it. Here we go.
All
Um,
right.
there we go.
Can folks see okay?
In a minute, they will.
All right.
All right. There. It's kind of covering your video, but it is on there.
Okay. Well, here's a little bit of a illustration of what the Neon Spires is like. It's definitely a place inspired by past events, of present events, and it's like 1,000% political. And we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this. Playing the cyberpunk like genre, like devoid of like politics, is like the biggest scam. It's just a scam. Okay, it's like for me, and it's just one of those games that is just like so loudly political. There are many other genres out there that are not, but like cyberpunk in its roots is, right? So this mega city called Neon Spires, as you see, it's just like a towering metropolis that was built on stolen land, familiar for some. And it was built on top of really like vibrant and like complex communities, but were communities that obviously didn't have a lot of power or wealth. And it was all done in this name of like progress and future, that kind of stuff. But then it collapsed, like literally. And there was this big mega corporation called Eden Tech who decided to just like keep building on top of everything. And every time that they kept building and building and building and building and building, this huge collapse, mega abyss formed, which is 100% ecological collapse, man-made. And you know what? They were just like, we don't care. This big ass abyss here that just happened. We're just gonna keep building higher and higher. And the more they built, the more catastrophic collapses and ecological collapses happened. There's this big toxic smog that you see, this like neon toxic smog over here. And they just kept isolating themselves up. They like sealed themselves up from the bottom of the spires with this like concrete military grade seal, and just left everyone else at the bottom to, their own selves. But as people of resistance and as people of creativity and radical imagination, these communities continue to thrive and survive despite being completely disconnected from this wealth of world out there, up there. So you will see like the world is like literally like it's vertical, So up here, there's the upper world, and then in between where the toxic smog is, and down here, still in the spire, we have the ironclad warrens. And then on the ground level, there's another big district called the Edge District. And then below, underground, the Echoes Fringe, and then the Abyss. It's a little hard to understand if you first have to see like, oh, I'm talking about a vertical thing. And it's not just one spire, it's like millions of them. So every single spire is like built into a big ass abyss. And all of these little green things are not streets. Those are like mini abysses, like mini chasms that have formed into this world. So it's easier to like show a little bit so people can like understand from that perspective. So it's a vertical thing, the neighborhoods move from up to down. There's no like vertical, or I mean horizontal space per se when it comes to the neighborhoods, and everything is just fragmented. And yeah, that's pretty much a little bit about what this world is about. Oh, I think I lost your.
No, I muted to call, and now I've just
Oh,
totally messed up the screen. It'll take me a second to fix it. I did
no
that to
worries.
myself. Yeah, I did that to myself. Um, but I muted to cough, and then I forgot to do the thing about the unmuting. Um,
No worries. Oh, and I must say about. Can I just say one more thing?
No, keep talking. Fill the space while I fix my screen.
And I've been and I like when I was researching to write the world, I got into this rabbit hole about techno feudalism, and I don't know if folks know about what techno feudalism is, but I know it sounds like it's some like sci-fi made up thing, but it's actually a real thing. It's the idea that the old rules of like capitalism are breaking down, but we're not just dealing with markets anymore. We're dealing with monopolies that act like lords. This is a real whole thing study of like economics and like sociology and like philosophy. So I was like, this is so real and perfect for what
No,
I'm writing.
that's. I had not heard that. I mean, it is what is happening in the world today, but I had
Yeah,
not heard it described like that. I am going to have to look that up.
look it up. It's a real thing, and it's I'm calling in the world like neo techno feudalism as the system in place, obviously because it's like in the future, but it's pretty much the same. It's like
It is.
yeah, I wanted to like yeah in the world it's Eden Tech, right? But like in the real world, it's like can I say names of things like Amazon or Google? I said
Yeah,
it.
no.
It's Amazon, it's Google, it's like it's every like gated community, it's every like tiered like healthcare plan, right? It's every like tech that it's making the world worse but like shinier. So I wanted the Neon Spires to like reflect that. It's not like it's still very much parallel to the real thing. It's not a metaphor, it's like a reality.
It is. It is very much a reality, and you have a little thing in the backstory, or in the demo about a backstory of like, it. Eden Tech didn't start it. There were other companies that then came together to become Eden Tech. You know, the
Yeah.
Amazons. I realize we're on an Amazon platform right now, but
I know.
we're
This is why
gonna.
I was like, I don't
No,
know.
it's okay because it's actually going to be my semi-smooth transition. An ad's going to run in about 2 minutes, and we're going to get some of that Bezos money. Um,
Get it,
but
Bezos.
but um, the so I'm going to point out another description that you use in the demo of the upper world has 29 stories of concrete to keep themselves separate, and it is very realistic with the divide between the class divide of how far up the upper class is. And I think it's an excellent parallel. um, and what was the so Yep, you already talked about the Abyss. You already talked about Eden Tech and the Upper World. On your map that you had shown, there was the experimental Abyss, and I haven't seen anything about what that is yet. So, if you're willing to tell us what that is, or you can also say you'll just have to find out on the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I think I want to leave some mystery. I'm so
No,
sorry.
that's the point. And I say that like there isn't already so much in the demo. And we talked about how we're not going to cover it all in the hour. Um, because there is, just quite a bit. Um, so, um, where? See, this is how we do professionalism. I
Yes.
fixed the screens and then I lost my document, but I found it again. Um,
Yes.
so next we were going to talk about weird and magic, but actually we're coming up on an ad. So instead, we're going to talk about um, one of our weird and wacky questions. So, in maybe about 45 seconds, an ad's going to pop up on your screen, and we appreciate you staying tuned in to watch uh, me be a little bit of a train wreck and Raffi to just be blowing my mind with all this really cool stuff. In the meantime, our weird and wacky ad break question is, what song or artist gets you into the Neon Spire's mindset? What is your like? How do you get down there? Aside from just looking at the news, um, am I
that
right?
was that was that was preem. That was preem. Oh my god. So much Rage Against the Machine.
Yes.
So much The Knife, Fever Ray, Bjork. Those were kind of like, like my soundtracks, and the whole like soundtrack for the cyberpunk like game itself, like 2077. I love that soundtrack. That soundtrack is just so good. But Rage Against the Machine is
A lot of metal. I'm hearing. I was kind of expecting, a little bit of EDM or punk, but we're big fans of metal. My current
yeah.
metal band obsession is Bloodywood. Have you ever heard of Bloodywood?
No, I
Oh
haven't.
my gosh, they are a Indian metal band. They combine uh, classic. Their newest album, New Delhi, is just the most absolutely fantastic, most beautiful heavy metal band. But they combine. It's either, and I'm not exactly sure which dialect of the
Mm.
languages in India it is, but they also call it kind of like Punjabi metal. So they use a lot of the
Ooh.
like cultural instruments just in with the like screamo. Oh, it's just gorgeous. Um,
Wow. I
they
love that.
they blow my mind. Bloodywood. Everybody check them out. I did not recognize. We're vibing with time. I didn't recognize some of the bands you said. Um, so, but Rage Against the Machine. You said Bjork. Who else did you say? I got distracted.
I also put it in the chat here if you just want to see, because I was like, sometimes you say it and I'm like, I need to see how that writes. So there's a band called The Knife and
Mm-hmm.
Fever Ray. They're not metal. They're
Ooh,
very like EDM electronic, because I
yes.
love an electronic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like weird, and like
Ah.
dark, and like, but also like poetic, just like oof,
Ooh, I'm gonna
deep.
check them out later,
Check
because
them out.
I love, I do have the partial autistic brain where I listen to the same artist over and over again, and then when I'm not at work, I like the new stuff. All right, but I'm also gonna drop them in the Twitch chat too. The Night, Fever Ray. Um,
And of
anyways,
course,
um,
Bjork, classic.
York, I can't spell that. I know how to spell it. I just don't know the keys uh, for the fancy. Uh, Anyway, I think we survived the ad break, and it was moderately smooth. I did learn something about music, so I feel good. But if it wasn't smooth to the audience, that's what we're here for. All right, let's talk about one of the new things that you are bringing to CBR+PNK, which is the weird magic. Where, why? Like what? Why was not the right question, but um, what kind of inspired that, and how did you come across making these? You've got so many different little weird items. You can talk.
Yeah. So, CBR+PNK has a little bit of weird, but I'm like, I need more weird. I need like a lot of weird, actually. So I think it has two ideas. Yeah, it has the two ideas for like weird, and it has like some weird consequences and drawbacks that you can do. But like the thing about CBR+PNK is that it's supposed to be like very like one shot focus, right? And like a little bit of like, and I don't mean this in a bad way at all, more like generic like settings so that you can do them like quickly, right? So you don't have to like think too much about it. You don't have to do a lot of prep, which is like really great when you're like trying to just be like, hey, do you want to like sit and like do this thing, right? And then you just like look at tables and you're like, oh, here's an obstacle, here's a payload, here's a random NPC, you put something together. Fantastic. I am someone who likes a tiny bit more depth. And like the project really focuses on developing CBR+PNK and beyond with the new mechanics and all the new shit that we're bringing for like mini campaigns. So, anywhere between like 5 to like 10 tops, I think. We've ran plenty of play tests with that like format, and it works like pretty well. You can explore a lot of things. So I was like, okay, like if we can do like more mini campaign styles, right? Where we can do like, let's try to do this in 3 sessions. We can come up with like so many like types of like cool magic shit that you can use. So in this, I'm not gonna say too much about the sample run that's in the game, but the sample run that's in the book is supposed to run for about like 3 to 8 sessions. Most of the sessions I ran ended up being like 5 to 6 on the run, and you really get to like explore and like develop magic. So we created 5 different types of weird paths, which are like the main kind of like magical abilities that you can have. They're called, meta talents. And then you also have 6 different meta heritages that were not part at all on CBR+PNK. So those are like completely new. And essentially, it's kind of like your ancestral magical abilities that you can use in conjunction with your big ass magical abilities. And then also came up with like weird stuff, which is what attunes folks can like use to like channel magic because they don't have the ability to channel magic themselves. And they're also like weird mods. So like how you can like modify like your gun or like your vehicle or your armor, like, and they're all like, revolutionary kind of like movement focus. Like there's this one that's called the riot brick. It's like, yeah, you do cool shit with your magical riot brick. So they're all like leaning towards that kind of style. And yeah, we just like really had to. I mean, I'm someone who loves magic, and the only other like cyberpunk game that has a lot of magic is, Shadowrun, and it's really hard to play it, and it's like so much math, and I'm just like, I can't play Shadowrun, but I love that there's so much magic. So it's just kind of like, okay, like how do you simplify magic and make it usable in like this format, which I really love. And I also want a little bit more depth. It's like it's a hard balance to like strike.
It's yeah. I again had a thought and lost it, but the just the convergence of tech and magic is a thing that I love in stories. So I'm excited to. You mentioned that you have been doing playtests. I'm going to skip to a question I had for later because I saw that you just recently had some playtests. When you've been doing these playtests, is there something that a playtester has done that you didn't expect and just kind of completely threw you off? How did that go?
So many things. I mean, when I first ran the sample run of Echoes of the Veil, you know, the whole mission was that they needed to do something in the upper world, and then after they finished that, they had to like escape the upper world and go to the lower parts and like do some more shit. And one of my players was like, "Oh, okay, I'm just gonna do a flashback, and I'm gonna say we all had parachutes, and we're just gonna like parachute our way down all the way from the upper world all the way down." And I was like, "Oh, I guess I didn't make it clear that you would be instantly dead if you
Oh
did
no.
that because there are like AI drones and like high technology everywhere." But like I was still like so early in my writing that like it never occurred to me that like someone would want to do that because you know it just seems like so obviously like it's gonna go wrong, but they were like so into it.
Oh,
Uh,
and now it's kind of lined out in there about how
yeah,
citizens of the underworld are monitored and they know everything and intentionally keep the secrets of the upper world away from everybody else. Um,
yeah.
so, oh no, okay.
Aw.
Penny was gonna come join as a co-host. Now she's gonna get in front of the camera. So, um, another part. Oh, my
Adorable.
co-host, we broke the whole thing. Um,
Aw.
so, um, I know that we're not supposed to play favorites. Okay, the question can go back. I know we're not supposed to play favorites with our children, but you have put some NPCs into it. Do you have a favorite NPC that you have created?
Oh my god. They're gonna be upset at me if I choose one. You know?
That's
What am I
true.
gonna okay, but I mean I probably do. I'm pretty fond of like the main at NPC, which is Madame Synapse. She's just like an elder who is like such a badass. And I'm not gonna reveal because otherwise, if I reveal her backstory, then it's just gonna ruin
Yeah.
all of the sample run. But I'm gonna say, you know, she's a complex, powerful, but flawed human being. But she's such a badass. Like when I did so many playtests with her, like there was one session where one of my players was a little bit triggered by her because she was just like she's just such a like a stereotypical like elder who will like put you on your place, you know, just like I know,
Uh, yeah, I feel it.
yeah, just like you respect her, otherwise, you know,
You have to respect the elders.
you
Um,
have to, you
they've
have to,
survived this long for a reason. Um,
yes.
but I also understand kids get cocky sometimes. Kids.
Oh, they do. Oh, they do.
Speaking of kids getting cocky, we're gonna move her because there are two neurodivergent people here and we need to focus. Okay,
Oh.
we need to focus. Okay, so I also there's just a tiny bit of the sample run, like the introduction to the sample run, and I purposefully didn't read it because someday I want to play this and I don't want any of it spoiled. So I appreciate you not spoiling it for us, but I am very excited to meet that
Yeah, well,
character.
Madam Synapse is like right on the cover of the sample run. So,
Gorgeous. I thought that was who that is, and you will just have to go to download the demo in order to see that picture. Um, so another thing that I see pretty prevalently on the Kickstarter and in the demo is accessibility, which is extremely important. And so I kind of wanted to talk about, well, I guess we did a little bit, but let's talk about how you've expanded on these rules for, as you say, clarity over aesthetics. So what have you kind of been thinking about as you have put accessibility as a focus in creating this game?
Absolutely. Okay. So, one of the main reasons to do a book first and not jump into wanting to do everything like pamphlet format, which I will on my next project, but
Yes.
the first thing is like we need to do the beautiful like world building. Like I really wanted to create like this essentially like toolkit that like GMs could take on and they can build, you know, infinite runs out of this world because there's like so much to offer. There's no way you can do that in pamphlet format, right? And that's fine. This is what I'm doing. It's those are two separate things. But when it comes to like the rules, right? Like the mechanics, like that was a big point for me. It's like again, it's just like I had so much. I didn't come from a background where I had played any of the Forged in the Dark system, which CBR plus PNK is based on.
Mm-hmm.
So I came in fresh. I had no idea what the system it was based on was like how do you play it. So the struggle was very real. And as a designer, I also recognize, okay, like, you know, the designer is like trying to fit everything into like these like little pamphlets,
Yeah.
right? So it's like they're really cool and like kudos to them. I can see like how challenging that must have been. So I was like, okay, I think I can make some like deliberate choices if I were to create the character shit, which by the way,
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you trying to show
it's
one and not the other? Yes.
it's as one of the stretch goals in the Kickstarter, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on it. It looks pretty cool. Uh, I think I can make deliberate design choices where I'm not sacrificing things like giving an example of what the rule means in place of maybe putting like a cool like design thing on it, right? So that was kind of like my process. I'm like identifying the things where I can actually utilize the space for more examples and to clarify the rules because I don't understand that. I don't understand what that means. I need an example. So the way that we rewrote everything, especially for like more complex, some rules are like pretty straightforward. It's like you do this, this happens. Okay, that may not need an example, but there are some rules that are a
Mm-hmm.
bit more complicated and they might require an example. So it's like the rules are not written, and then it's like, for example, this is what happens. And there's like real examples, which CBR plus PNK has no examples, essentially, of what the rule means. Like they might give a few examples here and there about, oh, what is an augmentation? For example, super strength. Yes, that they have, but not actual examples of how the mechanics like work. So that was step one or those are various steps, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
identifying things that we can move around, take things out. So I surveyed, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but 12 people for, you know, it's a lot for one person
It
who's
is.
doing this.
Yes. No,
And
don't
we have
discount
to
that.
do
That's
people.
good.
Yeah, yeah, and we're still surveying more people as we go, but to make that initial push and like that initial like design, we collected like surveys from 12 different folks, just like, okay, what has your experience been like with the sheet and like the system in general? We took the feedback, and based on that feedback, I did a complete like redesign and rewrite to meet those accessibility needs that were mentioned. And also to be able to fit all of the new mechanics that me and my collaborators have come up with. Like we had to add all the space to like fit weird stuff. Like we came up with like new mechanics for augmentations. Like now you have to go like visit a Ripper dock if you want to install your augmentation, and something might happen. You have to roll a dice and see if the
Right.
installation is successful or not. So
And it's also based on the expertise of the Ripper dog. Yeah,
exactly. Is it an expert Ripper doc, or is it a rookie Ripper doc? If you want to pay cheap, then you might get cheap stuff on your body. So we needed that extra space. So it's like it's a pretty different approach, right? Like as you can see, like this approach here, it's like it introduces things for the players without a lot of context. I think it's more useful to give a little bit of context, but also we can do art. Like we can do something that looks still like really, really cool,
so
and makes more sense. And also the order of things was something that the survey, that the people that took the survey pointed out, was just like, oh, the order of things, especially for new players, doesn't make a lot of sense. And like I had a lot of conversations about this, like because I had some people be like, but like who cares about like new players that much? Like once you understand the game, it makes sense. But I'm like, if we can't like
that's the point.
yeah, if we can't serve like new players who are like the people that like need the most amount of information first, like what are we doing? It's like, yeah, you're gonna get bored because you have to read rules. Like who cares? Like this is supposed to be an accessible thing where you know someone who has zero experience can feel like confident and like comfortable like interacting with it, right? So yeah, it's just that weird like mentality where it's like, to me it's always like, okay, if I can serve those people well, then everyone else will follow. Yeah.
Uh, it's also a reason that we need more neurodivergent people working on these, because sometimes when they try to get rules light, decision paralysis is real. Like I have the whole entire world to like anything can happen. Quite possibly nothing will now happen. And so that is just a, it's not a part you mentioned, but it's a really good, just having more clear outlines is just real good for that neurodivergent brain. And so that's why we need it.
Yeah, and just like even like anyone who has like zero experience with like
Yes.
TTRPG, right? Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
whether you're neurodivergent or not, which obviously it's like I care about that deeply because I am part of the community. But like regardless of that, just like think about someone who has zero experience, like with the concept of like, okay, what is stress, and there's like I don't know what that does, or like how do I roll a dice, or like what does that like those are real things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's great that that is taken into consideration. Um, I'm going to ask a deep question now. Um, we have insinuated and not gone massively that deep into the parallels between the current situation and the world of the Neon Spires and the Neon Veil. So, what do you hope that people take away from playing this game? Does that make sense?
I love that question. I
Yes.
love that. I love that. I mean, I already like self-disclosed as like a big dreamer, so I do hope that folks like walk away like feeling something, like something powerful, not just about the story that they played, but like about the world that we live in and have lived in, right? So Echoes of the Veil, yes, it's about surviving oppressive systems and like finding ways to like push back even when like if everything like feels impossible, right? But I hope that it inspires people to like not just fuck shit up like on game nights, but like fuck shit up in real life. It's like however that looks like for you, like it's different for everybody. It's like what fuck shit up for me in the real world may be completely different than what it is for you, right? And for my friend. But like I hope that like apathy is like not an option for folks that like engage with this content. And I think it's like very clear on every page that it shouldn't be, right? It's like there is like so much beauty and like so much resistance and like so many dreams and like desires to like make the world a better place. So I hope like that can translate like somehow into our lives, and like how we interact with other people.
It's a powerful thing to bring these parallels into a game and allow people to sit at the table and expand their mind and realize that their mind is actually a powerful place, and they can bring that to the rest of us and they can bring it to the fight. And so I'm very thankful that that you have done this and that you have put this so expertly together. Um, we have already gotten pretty close to the hour. I cannot believe. I mean, I did go off the rails for about 2 minutes, but I can't believe how quickly that was. So I want to ask: is there anything that you want to talk about? Because I know I skipped through. Like I said, we had a big old list of topics. Is there anything that I skipped through that you really want to make sure the audience knows and that people know about this uh, about the project?
Well, I think I talked a lot about the project, but I don't know. I wanted to maybe take the last few moments that we have to just, encourage people to do their thing. Like if you're thinking about, doing your own game, or if you have an idea, like you don't know where to start, like start somewhere. It's kind of like I wasn't planning on coming up with like this project either. It was just like something that I did to like understand how it worked, and it turned out into like an awesome thing that, has like taken up the vast majority of my time in life. But I love it, like I'm like I haven't felt this excited and like about and like proud of something like in a while. I mean, a lot of things that I do I'm proud of, but like not this excited about it. Just like lit something really special for me. So yeah, just like connect with other people, like reach out to community, just like put it out there.
I I am going to sneak in one of the questions that I had written down
Mm.
because of what you just said. Is there a piece of advice that you would give somebody that is going out that you wish you had when you started?
You probably know what I'm gonna say on this.
Yeah, I think I do. Um, I think I
Signed an NDA. Have people
it's
sign an
true.
NDA.
I signed an NDA. This would be a 3 hour thing if I did not sign that NDA. But it got me so dang hyped. Sign, yes. Protect yourselves. Um,
Protect yourselves. Yes, like that. Honestly, it's like and like like if you're unsure about something, like reach out to community. Like that's what I did. I was like, oh shit, I think I made this biggest mistake. Like I'm feeling so awful. Do you have any suggestions for me? And like so many like wonderful community members like jumped in and like affirmed me and like gave me tips and advice. And like and I put them into practice. And now like everyone that either does like a full deep like play test with me where it's not like in person where it's like I'm like there and they're I can see what they're doing. If it's like over the internet, you sign an NDA, like there's no question about it, so like I really learned kind of like the hard way. Just it's not a big deal, it's just an NDA. Have people do that, and like reach out to like community members who have more like experience about things, like with the Kickstarter. Like thankfully I'm not like a Kickstarter expert by no means, but it's like I do a lot of like design and like projects for like clients who have ran like similar campaigns, so it's like I have a lot of experience with that. Like the Kickstarter itself wasn't like a big issue for me. Although I did get like a huge help from like two Kickstarter like experts. So I just want to give a shout out to like Tony from like Plus One X and Richard that also works with Tony from Artbook Studio, who like volunteered to like look at my Kickstarter. Like I was just like, it's just like, what? Like, thank you so much. And just like spend an hour on the phone with me, it's just like, wow, it's just like so touching. So like pay it forward, like do the same for another person. Like if you see someone like posting about it, just be like, oh yeah, like let me help you out, I'll do this. But like it was the months pre Kickstarter that like kicks your ass because you have to do like so much prep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I personally have never done one, but around a lot of creators. And sometimes people just disappear because they are working on their Kickstarter and I don't hear from them for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
When I looked yesterday, you were at about 40 something, 46% on the Kickstarter. And we still have, it's only been live for less than a week.
Yeah.
So if you are watching this later, check down in the description for the Kickstarter. We're going to be posting about it on the Diversity Safe socials. And I'm trying to think if there's anything we missed. I have really appreciated getting to talk to you, and I'm so excited for the project.
Thank you. I mean, I'm humbled to like be here, among folks who share similar values, who want to, make the world a better place, and who are like doing the hard work, which is we listen, we are doing the you are doing the hard work, you're creating like, again, carving your own space. Like we talked about this, right? We are like carving our own spaces because the gaming industry, it can be pretty brutal. Let's be real. It can be pretty brutal, can be very like bottom line profit sort of deal, like male dominant, like, oh boy, like
white dominated. I'm gonna say it because I'm the white person. I don't like seeing myself anymore. I've seen myself too much. Y'all have better stories. Just saying it. For real.
So I appreciate like that you are like supporting more like POC voices and minority voices, and yeah, letting us take off and fly and take up space. Take up space.
Take up space because you deserve it. I don't do this alone, and I think that I don't shout out my fellow board members enough because I just do the programming. We are now up to 9. We expanded our board just so that we could reach more and do more projects. And so there are 8 other people behind the scenes coming from every walk of life. And I couldn't do it without them. And so, yeah. And we couldn't do it without creators like you just plowing your way. And so I'm very happy. We're gonna just like do the compliment Olympics if I don't find a way to wrap this up. So I appreciate everybody joining us, and if you are watching this later, I also appreciate that. You can check out the Kickstarter. Links will be in the description. Links will be on social media. Links were not in the chat. I put the demo in the chat. But it, anyways, I hope you all have a great evening, a great weekend. I don't know if anybody but me is going to get this reference, but damn the man, save the empire. Good night.